checking in on the city's finances, an important commitment to the future of downtown Durham, and what you need to know about the upcoming transit referendum. We invite you to join us now as we take you inside City Hall this week. Hello, I'm Amy Blaylock. Welcome to City Hall this week, dedicated to keeping you informed about what's going on inside Durham City Hall. Durham's year-end financial report is out, and despite the still struggling economy, the city fared reasonably well last year. Budget Director Bertha Johnson presented the report to the City Council during its September 8th work session.
Departmental expenditures are projected to be under budget by approximately $5.4 million. We did experience a revenue shortfall of about $5.7 million. Of course, this is primarily due to sales tax, and we've told you that each quarter when we present it to you. Another change that made a difference in the year-end numbers is the downtown fund was merged with the general fund. And also, I am really excited to say that all of our departments came in within budget. Now, I know we said that last year, but the big difference this year is that they came in within budget with awarding the bonuses to their employees, and that was extraordinary. We have a different culture with our department directors, it's a different culture in the organization where we are actually working across departments versus working in silos. When we look at the dollars that are needed, it's not my department has to pay for their bonuses and this department has to find money for their bonuses. We actually looked across the organization. We had department directors come to us and say, I have some savings in this contract. I can set this aside to help pay for employee bonuses. So I just want to thank our department directors and acknowledge them for the work they've done this past year and the last couple years where we've had tremendous pressure on us because of the economic conditions.
As Johnson said, one of the primary sources of revenue for the city is sales tax, which was up from last year, but still far below initial projections.
Not a lot has changed here, but I will say that we collected $1.5 million more than the last fiscal year, which is 5.1%, which is a good indicator, although it was $7.2 million less than the $38 million budget.
So, in light of those types of numbers, what is the budget outlook for next year? Johnson says there's reason to be both optimistic and realistic.
We anticipate revenues meeting or exceeding budget expectations based on where we ended the fiscal year and where we are now. Based on performance of other revenues and the sales tax collections at the end of the fiscal year, we anticipate meeting sales tax projections. We anticipate all of our departments spending within appropriations. We realigned some of the budgets and we feel like the numbers are really good. And I won't talk about the unemployment rate because you all have heard the latest news on that, which is somewhat disappointing because we were looking at the numbers there and thinking that that would really translate to some additional increase in revenues for us, particularly sales tax.
Of course, property tax collections are another significant source of revenue for the city. Council members also received a report on those numbers from last year, numbers that reflect a collection rate that continues to rank among the highest in the state.
The total levy for the city of Durham that we billed was $127,641,479. We collected 98.75% of that, which was $126,039,604. We still can't beat the city of Asheville. We're not sure what the city of Asheville's doing. We've actually talked to the tax office up in Buncombe County, and we joke a little bit about it. We want to review your numbers, but from what we were told, the city of Asheville is people just want to pay their taxes there, and they continuously beat us in our competitiveness of tax collectors at 99.34% versus our 98.75%. So the fact is that we still remain in a lot better position than a lot of our peer cities and our peer counties. So at 98.75%, we lost about 1/10 of a percent from last year to this year. I would still say that you received an excellent collection rate in regards to a 98.75% collection rate.
Those numbers are just slightly behind Durham County's collection rate, which ranks as the highest for counties in the state.
The total levy for the county was about $223 million, and we collected $221 million for 98.88% collection rate. So for the first time, Durham County beat Buncombe County for the collection rate on the county side.
For more information about property tax collections for both the county and the city, visit durhamcountync.gov. Another way the city can occasionally boost its revenue is through an auction of surplus property. Durham has accumulated enough surplus to warrant such a sale, which will be held at 10 a.m. on Saturday, November 12th at the Fleet Maintenance Facility located at 1900 Camden Avenue. Payment in full is due on the day of the sale by cash, certified check, money order, or check, if it's accompanied by a bank letter of guarantee. There's more progress to report on the South Side Revitalization Project. The City Council has approved public and private pre-development cost for the 132-unit South Side Rental Phase 1. $550,000 in Community Development Block Grant funds will be used for site preparation and infrastructure design, and $998,000 will be used for the design of site improvements and the Phase 1 residential buildings. In order to comply with IRS requirements, Phase 1 must be finished no later than December 2013. The city is continuing its free workshop series for small businesses looking for a way to grow. The first of these workshops was held in July with the goal of providing useful training sessions to support the growth and development of small businesses. The second session will be held on Thursday, September 29th from 6 until 8 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall. The focus of that workshop will be technical and financial small business assistance programs. Registration for each session is required, which can be done through the Equal Opportunity and Equity Assurance Department's homepage on the city's website. And speaking of good business, the Full Frame Documentary Film Festival has reaffirmed its commitment to the city and to the newly renovated Durham Convention Center. The festival is an annual event that brings documentary filmmakers and film lovers from around the world to downtown Durham every spring.
Full Frame is a documentary film festival. It was one of the first documentary-only film festivals in the United States, and it is the premier documentary film festival in the U.S., according to the New York Times. It started in 1994 as the Double Take Documentary Film Festival, and a few years after that changed its name to Full Frame.
The Convention Center has traditionally served as one of the primary hubs for the festival, and that will remain the case now that Full Frame has confirmed its commitment to Durham for an additional 4 years.
Durham is very unique, downtown Durham, because we have the historic Carolina Theater, and the Convention Center is right next to the Carolina. In fact, they're even connected internally, so your audience doesn't have to leave to go outside. So the Convention Center has always been an integral part of Full Frame on the documentary landscape. It's very attractive to people coming from outside of Durham because most festivals are spread out among their city, and you're taking shuttles and you're going places. You might be late to a screening. You never have that in Durham at Full Frame because of the Convention Center. We're going to use the Convention Center for a long time. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for the entire city now that the Convention Center has been renovated. We will build out 2 theaters in there this year. That's our plan. And we will continue to move into the Carolina Theater and use its 3 theaters as well, which they are also opening up after a renovation. So we have a brand spanking new landscape to use. The Convention Center also has added a lot of flat screen TVs, as there are in most cities' convention centers. That enables us to have our sponsors have an opportunity to show their work. Because we are a film festival, we can show film on those monitors while people are walking up and down the halls between their cinemas. So it's a wonderful opportunity.
In addition to the Convention Center and the Carolina Theater, the American Tobacco Campus and the Durham Arts Council are also host sites for the event, all offering a solid foundation for the festival to build upon.
There are many reasons why Durham is the best fit for the Documentary Film Festival of Full Frame. I would say the first is Durham and the Triangle are consistently voted one of the 5 top smartest cities in the U.S. So we have a lot of people who are very interested and involved and want to see these documentaries. But it's also an extremely artistic community and a very diverse community. The fact that downtown Durham is so compact and renovated, and you have all these new exciting shops and restaurants, up-and-coming businesses and startup businesses, it makes Durham an ideal place for a festival of ideas. And a documentary festival is a festival of ideas, if there ever was one. The last part is that we're in the South, and the hospitality here is unparalleled. So when the filmmakers come in here, they feel loved, they feel taken care of, they feel appreciated by the audience in a way I don't really think they can capture outside of Durham. So we're very lucky to be here.
The Durham Convention Center is managed by Global Spectrum and jointly owned by the city and the county. Durham's upcoming transit referendum could mean big changes for our transit system. Find out what those changes are and how they could affect you when City Hall This Week continues.
Most of us spend up to 6 hours a day in front of the computer or TV, usually with snacks. Trade tube time for active time. Physical activity keeps you and him in shape and feeling good. So move more each day. Your body will thank you.
Welcome back. The Durham County Emergency Management Department is asking for your input on its hazard mitigation plan. The plan is created to outline the hazards faced within Durham City and County and how to reduce them. A public meeting to introduce the draft plan will be held at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th in the County Commissioner's Chambers at 200 East Main Street. A copy of the plan is available at all public library locations and online on the city's website. Durham's half-cent sales tax referendum to support transit improvements is just weeks away. And before November 8th rolls around, the city and county want to make sure you're as educated as possible about this important issue.
Well, the sales tax referendum is the major source of local revenue that will be used to fund the Durham Bus and Rail Investment Plan. This is a major plan that includes various elements. It will also include federal and state funding, but the sales tax would generate the majority of the local funding necessary to leverage those federal and state funds.
An investment that's expected to pay off over the next 24 years.
The half-cent sales tax, based on information from the Durham County Finance Department and working with Triangle Transit Authority, is projected to generate approximately $18.4 million the first year that it's levied, but nearly $625 million through 2035, or the life of the Bus and Rail Investment Plan, nearly 24 years.
Money that would go toward funding both bus and commuter rail service throughout Durham and much of the Triangle region.
There's really 3 elements to the Bus and Rail Investment Plan. The first piece is the bus service expansion. This is the service improvements for Data and Triangle Transit throughout Durham County. The second phase would be the commuter rail service. This would be a rail service connecting from West Durham through downtown, through Research Triangle Park, Cary, Morrisville, West Raleigh, downtown Raleigh, Garner to Johnston County, a 37-mile system. The third element would be a light rail system, that 17 miles that would extend from East Durham near Alston Avenue through downtown, Duke University, Medical Center, South Square, 15501, 54, and into Chapel Hill and UNC. So it's a three-phase system.
If the increase is not approved, the expansion and startup of those services would not happen, or at least not in the near future.
Well, one of the key features of the local revenue is it's really needed to leverage the federal and state revenue. As I mentioned earlier, the Bus and Rail Investment Plan really has 3 primary funding sources, local, state, and federal. But it's key, the local revenue source is key to leverage the federal and state dollars. Without that local revenue source, it's very unlikely that we would actually be successful in securing additional federal and state dollars, in which case we'd really be limited in any type of transit service expansion. We wouldn't see a rail system, and quite honestly, we really wouldn't see any expansion of our local bus system without an additional local revenue stream.
If the half-cent sales tax increase is approved by voters, collection could start by April 2012. Be sure to watch City Life in October for more detailed information about the transit referendum. There's more progress to report on the city's water systems improvement project. The City Council approved a license agreement with the North Carolina Railroad and the Norfolk Southern Railway to install a 36-inch water line along West Main Street. The water line will interconnect and run parallel to existing water lines that cut across the railroad's right-of-ways. It will replace existing water lines that were originally installed in 1887 and 1901. The city has a new land use update for the Fayetteville Street NC Central University Corridor.
Fayetteville Street University Land Use Update is a small area plan for the Fayetteville Street Corridor from about the Stanford Warren Library to the south end of the North Carolina Central University campus. It has four main purposes. The first is to look at the future land use designations for the area. The second is to look at the zoning for the area and to make sure we match those up with existing policy for the local historic district or any other policies that we have in the area. Also to look at some zoning options for the North Carolina Central University campus and to examine the North Carolina College redevelopment plan, see if there's any changes or removals that we want to make to that.
The City Council approved the update during its September 19th meeting. Here's a look at what those changes will actually mean to the corridor, starting with the future land use map.
In 2000, City Council adopted the Fayetteville Street Local Historic District. And that historic district sets architectural standards and tries to allow the historic district to basically stay the way it is. However, we had a number of future land use map designations that were of higher density than what's existing. So we had two policies that were in conflict. Through the Fayetteville Street University Land Use Update, we're trying to make those the same, and so we're lowering a lot of the recommended densities in the future land use map.
The second area of focus is the zoning map.
We're making some recommended changes to the zoning so that, for example, residential areas that are currently zoned commercial go back to residential. Residential areas that are currently zoned office go back to residential so that we can better preserve the historic integrity of that corridor.
The third set of changes is being made to the University College zoning for North Carolina Central University.
Right now, most of North Carolina Central University is zoned residential, with some of it zoned office. And what we're recommending is that we go to what's called University College zoning. But right now, our University College zoning requirements are much more suburban in nature. They're for a university that has a lot more land to expand and a lot more land between its campus buildings and the surrounding neighborhoods. North Carolina Central University doesn't really have that ability. So what we've recommended are some changes in a new zoning district, UC2, that would better fit the character of the existing campus and allow them to grow on their existing campus, but still respect the single-family neighborhoods that are nearby.
And the final set of changes is being made to the North Carolina College redevelopment plan, simply trying to bring those regulations up to date.
The North Carolina College redevelopment plan was adopted by City Council in February of 1964. It has remained unchanged since then, and a lot of things have changed in the area since. The redevelopment plan area is primarily area south of campus, and it calls for a lot of requirements and assumptions that really are no longer in effect. So we are recommending that we actually rescind the plan, and through the Fayetteville Street University Land Use Update, we examined some ways that we could try to remove or rescind the plan and a lot of the legal requirements for doing so.
It is important to note that the Fayetteville Street University Land Use Update and North Carolina Central's Campus Master Plan are not the same thing. And no property will be acquired through the Land Use Update. There's more national recognition for the services Durham provides to its residents, this time representing more than just bragging rights. Find out why the fire department's recent accreditation is important to us all when City Hall This Week continues.
For every one of these spots, there are at least 5 to 24 others for you to use. Many folks think that people with disabilities are getting special treatment with these parking spaces, but it's really a safety issue, not a convenience. Many drivers backing out of a parking space can't see a person with a disability. Remember, accessible parking is a civil right built on safety. For more information, call the Americans with Disabilities Act Information Center at 800-949-4232.
Welcome back. There's yet another reason for Durham residents to boast about the services their city provides. The fire department is now one of only 146 in the world to achieve international accreditation. The department has earned accredited agency status with the Commission on Fire Accreditation International. It has met the criteria established through a voluntary self-assessment and accreditation program geared toward improving service delivery. Fire Chief Bruce Pagan says being an accredited agency means that the department has demonstrated a commitment that places it on the path of continuous organizational improvement. There are only 9 other accredited departments in North Carolina. October is Crime and Fire Prevention Month. Both the police and fire departments have a number of events planned geared toward helping to keep you and your family safe. During the week of October 10th through the 14th, the fire department will hold a contest for 4th and 5th graders. The students must prove in some way that their family has and practices home evacuation plans. They will be able to upload photos, videos, or any other type of proof they might have to the Culture of Service Facebook page. The winner will be announced and notified on October 20th. The winner will win a free lunch with firefighters, as well as be able to show off their skills at a safety day at their school. And in honor of Crime Prevention Month, the police department will have a series of display tables set up at various locations throughout Durham, as well as workshops and safety events. For more information on dates, locations, and times, visit durhampolice.com. If you're interested in helping to keep Durham beautiful, you'll want to mark your calendars for Saturday, October 1st. That's when the city's annual Big Sweep event will be held, with volunteers picking up litter along creeks, rivers, and lakes. To register, visit keepdurhambeautiful.org. The city is also helping to keep its streams and drinking water sources clean through the planting of rain gardens and watersheds throughout Durham. The Northeast Creek Watershed Rain Garden plantings will be held on October 1st and 8th. Volunteers are still needed to help install plants in the Parkwood and Audubon Park neighborhoods. Workers from the Mayor's Summer Youth Work program dug the rain gardens this summer to help filter pollutants from stormwater. To volunteer, contact Laura Webb Smith at 560-4626 extension 30235. The work of numerous volunteers is helping to give one Durham woman and her children a place to call home. Find out how these walls will soon be giving shape to this family's future when City Hall This Week continues.
Yeah, hey, I'm almost there. I just gotta find that cross street.
Whoa! Stop! Solid waste collection employees have the 5th highest fatality rate in the United States, but there are other people who care about them.
He's my husband.
He's my brother.
He's my dad.
He's my son.
Be alert, watch the road, and slow down to get around. This message is brought to you by the National Solid Waste Management Association and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Call 560-4600. This 24/7 number was established by the Durham 911 Center for all non-emergency calls. Immediate threat to your life or property, call 911. And all other non-emergency calls?
560-4600.
Now you got it.
Welcome back. The Parks and Recreation Department is inviting all Durham residents to come be a part of Unity in the Community Day. The event will be held on Saturday, October 8th from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Leroy Walker Complex at NC Central University. Part of the city's Disability Awareness Month celebrations, the event will feature exhibitors, adapted sports, makeovers, a children's play area, giveaways, performances, and free food. A single mother of 2 boys is about to see her dream of home ownership become a reality, thanks to Habitat for Humanity and many City of Durham employees. We've introduced you to some of the employees working on Tamara Hall's home before, but now they've gotten the chance to finally meet her face to face, or in some cases, hug to hug.
On behalf of the city, that's the official hug right there.
Hall's future home will be built on Chester Street, but because of recent rains, the framing of the walls and the official groundbreaking ceremony had to take place at the Habitat warehouse. Hall says she's wanted to own a home for a long time because of what it will mean for her family.
Means having my own home, finally having a place that has enough space for my family and friends to come by, a place that my 2 sons can now have their own room, and it's just ours, a place to call home.
A dream that resonated with these volunteers as they hammered their way through a day full of hard work and overwhelming gratitude.
It means a lot to me, especially all these volunteers. I mean, because on their weekends they could be doing something else, but they come out to help me. It means a lot to me. It means a lot. And as I said, if I could meet each and every one and give them a hug, I would. And if I get a chance to, I am.
A sense of appreciation that makes everyone involved with the project proud of what they are about to accomplish for and with this deserving family.
We all know this is not a gift.
No.
This is not a gift. You are working so hard to get to this day.
Yes.
And this is just the beginning. So we are excited to work with you.
The City of Durham is a co-sponsor of this project, and city employees are providing most of the labor to build Tamara Hall's house. It's also city employees who are there for all Durham residents in times of emergencies, such as winter weather, hurricanes, or other such events. In this We Care segment, we'll show you the many ways our employees go far beyond just doing their jobs at times like these.
When severe weather strikes, and that could be a hurricane, it could be a severe winter weather event. I like to talk about severe winter weather because in the South, it's pretty common to have traffic problems, and so lots of businesses, they might go ahead and close down or close early or delay their opening just because folks aren't used to driving in those circumstances. It's those very circumstances, severe weather, when actually we ask many of our employees to report to work, to already be at work. We're responsible for a variety of services and facilities throughout our community. We can't really do anything without our employees. In a severe weather event such as a hurricane, you can imagine the threats to our community include high winds and some intense rains. We're typically going to be faced with downed trees and flooding as our biggest threat. And so we have an urban forestry division. They're on call 24 hours a day to respond to these kind of emergencies and get the streets back open. We're very fortunate in Durham that the impact of Irene was minimal. Our power outages were fairly minimal, but nonetheless that gets our transportation department involved. Our fire department stood ready for immediate protection of health and safety to mitigate threats to life and limb. And of course, our police department, fortunately we didn't have many storm-related issues for them to deal with, but they can't let their guard down no matter what's going on, and they are certainly eyes and ears out in the community to help through the 911 center notify our other departments of particular responses they need to make. Let me also point out that 911 center is another group of folks who staffed up for the event so they could take the anticipated increase in calls that would come as a result of a storm, and they're always there to help customers. You know, underneath all this certainly is an acknowledgement that that's our job. I mean, folks sign up to be public safety personnel, to be involved in transportation and utilities, you know, because they want to do that job, and we certainly expect them to do that job. But that doesn't mean that we can't communicate to them how much we do appreciate that they are there and that they step up to the plate and go the extra mile during circumstances which are challenging, and often during circumstances where it would be a little more comforting to be home with their loved ones, and yet they're out there you know, taking care of business for everyone else. So even though it is our job and we do enjoy what we do, we want our employees to know how much we appreciate them helping our community get through these weather events and other public emergencies.
That does it for this edition of City Hall This Week. Be sure to like DTV8 on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to find out how you can tune into this show, City Life, and all the city's programming. You can also find us on demand on the city's website at durhamnc.gov/DTV8. I'm Amy Blaylock. Thank you for joining us for City Hall This Week.